Amidst a ceaseless cycle of reimagined stories, some films remain timeless masterpieces. A cinematic revolution, this film redefined the Western with its raw authenticity and iconic figures. Two bounty hunters, locked in a deadly dance, chase a reward too alluring to ignore. Yet, what became of the actors who breathed life into these legendary roles? Clint Eastwood as Monko. Monko is one of the many aliases used by the mysterious protagonist in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, played by Clint Eastwood. This particular name alludes to his missing left hand, a detail that enhances his enigmatic and formidable persona. In For a Few Dollars More, Monko is a bounty hunter tracking down El Indio, a merciless outlaw. His terse demeanor, precise marksmanship, and resilience in the harsh desert environment make him a formidable adversary. Eastwood held various odd jobs such as lifeguard, paper carrier, grocery clerk, forest firefighter, and golf caddy. He attempted to enroll at Seattle University in 1951, but was instead drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War. According to Eastwood's former longtime partner, Sandra Locke, he often mentioned the Korean War, hoping to imply that he was a combat hero, though he had actually served as a lifeguard at Fort Ord in Northern California for his entire military service. In May 1954, Eastwood auditioned for Six Bridges to Cross, but was turned down by Joseph Pevney. After numerous unsuccessful auditions, he eventually landed a minor role in Revenge of the Creature, 1955, directed by Jack Arnold, a sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon. Frustrated by directors' demands for multiple takes and perfection, Eastwood, upon starting his directing career in 1970, consciously avoided aspects of directing he had found tedious as an actor. Renowned for his efficient directing style, he is known for minimizing filming time and controlling budgets. He typically avoids rehearsals and prefers to capture most scenes in a single take. Additionally, Eastwood is an investor in the prestigious Pebble Beach golf links near Carmel and contributes his time to charitable causes at major golf tournaments. He is also a licensed FAA pilot for both fixed-wing and rotary aircraft and frequently flies his helicopter to studios to bypass traffic. Lee Van Cleef as Colonel Douglas Mortimer. Colonel Douglas Mortimer is, in fact, a character within the film For a Few Dollars More. The renowned Lee Van Cleef embodied this role. Mortimer, a former Union officer turned bounty hunter, is distinguished by his keen intellect, exceptional marksmanship, and resolute commitment to bringing El Indio to justice. His character presents a striking contrast to the enigmatic man with no name, resulting in a captivating and dynamic partnership on screen. Lee Van Cleef, a talented actor, embarked on his journey in the entertainment industry when he was spotted by film producer Stanley Kramer while performing at the Circle Theater in Los Angeles. Intrigued by Van Cleef's potential, Kramer offered him a role in an upcoming film. Initially, Kramer envisioned Van Cleef as Deputy Harvey Pell, but due to Van Cleef's reluctance to alter his distinctive nasal feature, he opted for the role of the taciturn gunslinger, Jack Colby. From this point onward, Van Cleef predominantly secured roles as antagonists, commencing with his portrayal of Tony Romano in Kansas City Confidential, 1952, and culminating in the pinnacle of his career in Sergio Leone's masterpiece, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. Van Cleef's versatility as an actor was showcased in the martial arts film The Octagon, 1980, where he shared the screen with Chuck Norris. He further demonstrated his talent in a supporting role in John Carpenter's cult classic Escape from New York, 1981. However, as the years progressed, Van Cleef's presence in the limelight gradually diminished. In 1984, he took on the role of a ninja master in the NBC adventure series The Master, but the show was short-lived and canceled after only 13 episodes. Van Cleef also collaborated with David Carradine in the film Armed Response, 1986. Throughout his extensive career, Van Cleef amassed an impressive body of work, including 90 film credits and 109 television appearances, spanning a remarkable 38-year period. On a personal note, Van Cleef had 3 marriages. His first union was with Patsy Ruth Cayley in 1943, and they welcomed 3 children, Alan, Deborah, and David. However, this marriage ended in divorce in 1958. He remarried in 1960 to Joan Marjorie Drain, a union that lasted until their divorce in 1974. Van Cleef found love again and wedded Barbara Havalone in 1976, who remained by his side until his passing. Interestingly, Van Cleef sustained an injury while building a playhouse for his daughter, resulting in the loss of the last joint of his right middle finger. Despite battling heart disease in the late 1970s and requiring a pacemaker in the early 1980s, Van Cleef persevered and continued his dedication to his craft. Sadly, he passed away on December 16, 1989, just shy of his 65th birthday. The cause of death was attributed to a heart attack, with throat cancer listed as a secondary factor. Klaus Kinski as Juan Wild, the Hunchback. Juan Wild is an unforgettable, albeit somewhat grotesque, character in For a Few Dollars More, portrayed by the intense Klaus Kinski. As a prominent member of El Indio's gang, Wild's notable physical deformity, a pronounced hunchback, sharply contrasts with his violent and ruthless demeanor. Despite his physical challenges, Wild is a proficient killer, bringing an element of unpredictability to the gang. His unwavering loyalty to El Indio makes him a key enforcer, tasked with the more brutal assignments. During his internment at Barra Church Hall in Colchester, Kinski made his stage debut, participating in variety shows designed to boost the morale of the prisoners. By May 1945, as the war in Europe was concluding, German POWs were eager to return home. Kinski, believing that sick prisoners were prioritized for repatriation, tried to qualify by exposing himself to the cold, drinking urine, and eating cigarettes. Despite his efforts, he remained in good health and was sent back to Germany in 1946. Upon arriving in Berlin, he discovered that his father had died during the war and that his mother had been killed in an Allied air raid on the city. Kinski's first film role was a minor part in the 1948 film Morituri. He went on to appear in several German Edgar Wallace films and had small roles in American war movies such as Decision Before Dawn, 1951, A Time to Love and a Time to Die, 1958, and The Counterfeit Traitor, 1962. In 1980, Kinski turned down the lead villain role of Major Arnold Toht in Raiders of the Lost Ark, criticizing the script to director Steven Spielberg as a yawn-making, boring pile of shit and moronically shitty. Kinski later played Kurtz, an Israeli intelligence officer, in The Little Drummer Girl, 1984, directed by George Roy Hill. He also appeared in the science fiction TV movie Time Stalkers, alongside William Devane and Lauren Hutton. His final film was Paganini, 1989, which he wrote, directed, and starred in as Niccolo Paganini. Kinski released his autobiography, All I Need Is Love, in 1988, which was reprinted as Kinski Uncut in 1996. The book led to a libel suit from his second daughter, Nastasia Kinski, although she later withdrew it. Kinski passed away from a sudden heart attack at his home in Lagunitas, California, on November 23, 1991, at the age of 65. Luigi Pistilli, as Groggy, member of Indio's gang. Groggy, an integral part of El Indio's crew, is distinguished by his unrestrained aggression and sheer might. Often portrayed as a mindless minion, his physical prowess far outweighs his intellect. Groggy's character stands in stark contrast to the more shrewd and calculating members of the gang. His primary function is to instill fear and physically dominate their adversaries. Nevertheless, His lack of cognitive prowess occasionally proves detrimental, landing him in predicaments due to his impetuous behavior. Pistilli honed his acting skills at the Piccolo Teatro in Milan, completing his studies in 1955. Even as he embarked on a film career, he maintained a strong connection to the theater, frequently returning to perform in plays directed by Giorgio Strehler, a luminary in the world of stage, screen, and television. Pistilli excelled in interpreting the works of Bertolt Brecht, notably in The Threepenny Opera and St. Joan of the Stockyards, solidifying his reputation as one of Italy's premier thespians. Pistilli's versatility as an actor was showcased in a range of film roles. He portrayed the murderous Albert in Mario Bava's giallo masterpiece, Twitch of the Death Nerve, also known as A Bay of Blood, in 1971. He also had a recurring role in the popular Italian television series La Piovra, The Octopus, a gripping mafia drama. Pistilli's talent for playing villains was evident in Death Rides a Horse, 1967, where he embodied the primary antagonist. Following a stint in the 1970 Charles Bronson thriller Cold Sweat, Pistilli delved into the giallo genre once more, appearing in Iguana with the Tongue of Fire and Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, in 1972, the latter featuring him as an alcoholic. He also added a touch of the supernatural to his resume, playing an exorcising priest in the 1974 cult horror film The Eerie Midnight Horror Show, alternatively titled The Sexorcist. Tragically, Pistilli's life came to an abrupt end when he took his own life at his Milan residence. This occurred just prior to his scheduled performance in the final showing of Terence Rattigan's Tosca on April 21, 1996. The production had received scathing reviews, which may have influenced Pistilli's mental state. However, his suicide note revealed a deeper anguish stemming from the recent dissolution of his 4-year relationship with singer-actress Milva, to whom he apologized for bitter public remarks made in a published interview. Aldo Sambrell as Cuchillo. The name Cuchillo, which translates to knife in Spanish, suits this temperamental member of El Indio's gang perfectly. True to his name, he favors knives as his weapon of choice and is often portrayed as hot-tempered and impulsive. This makes him an unpredictable and dangerous opponent, especially in close quarters. Within the gang, Cuchillo functions primarily as a henchman, executing El Indio's orders with ruthless efficiency and enhancing the gang's overall threat. The man behind Cuchillo, José Canalejas, was born in Vallecas on February 23, 1931. He traveled to Mexico due to his parents' exile, kicking off a football career under the name Madrileño Sánchez with Puebla FC. He also played for CF Monterrey before returning to Spain to play for Alcoyano and Rayo Vallecano. Eventually, he transitioned into the world of acting. Canalejas found fame in the cinema industry for his roles as a henchman in Sergio Leone's iconic spaghetti westerns. He appeared in the trilogy of films, starting with A Fistful of Dollars in 1964, followed by Once Upon a Time in the West in 1968, and 100 Rifles in 1969-1969. He also took on roles in A Fistful of Dynamite as the firing squad leader and in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad as a crew member of Sinbad. He even ventured into international productions, with appearances in Dr. Zhivago and The Wind and the Lion. Outside of Leone's films, he played a villain opposite Jackie Chan in Armor of God 2, Operation Condor. His career spanned numerous other westerns, including Navajo Joe, directed by Sergio Corbucci. Sadly, Canalejas passed away in Alicante, Spain, on July 10, 2010, at the age of 79 due to a cerebral infarction, a consequence of 3 strokes he suffered earlier in June. Benito Stefanelli as Luke Huey. The film features Benito Stefanelli as Luke Huey, a role for which he is well known in the world of cinema. Stefanelli's fame is largely attributed to his memorable portrayals of henchmen in several of Sergio Leone's iconic spaghetti westerns, including the classic trilogy A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, where he played gang members. He also appeared as the town drunk in Wanted, 1967, sharing the screen with Giuliano Gemma and Serge Marquand. Throughout his prolific career, Stefanelli amassed numerous credits in Western films and simultaneously worked behind the scenes as a stunt coordinator during the 1960s and early 1970s, particularly on Sergio Leone's films. It is also worth noting that he served as Clint Eastwood's interpreter, alongside Bill Tompkins, during the production of A Fistful of Dollars. Mario Brega as Nino, member of Indio's gang. The character of Nino, portrayed by the talented Mario Brega, leaves an indelible impression in the film For a Few Dollars More. Undeniably, he's part of El Indio's cutthroat gang, yet he stands apart as a somewhat humorous counterpoint to the more sinister characters like Juan Wield and Groggy. Despite his comedic flair, Nino remains steadfastly loyal to his leader, El Indio, willingly engaging in the gang's criminal endeavors. Brega's physical stature often typecast him as a thug, particularly in his early Western roles, but he later diversified into Italian comedy films. Standing at an imposing 6 feet 4 inches and well over 250 pounds in his heavier days, Brega eventually slimmed down significantly. Hailing from Rome, he began his career as a butcher, but soon found himself in front of the camera, where his distinctive build ensured a steady stream of character roles. His collaboration with director Dino Risi marked his debut, followed by minor appearances in Sergio Leone's iconic spaghetti westerns. A Fistful of Dollars as Chico, For a Few Dollars More as Nino, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as Corporal Wallace, and a gangster role in Once Upon a Time in America. Brega's versatility extended beyond westerns, with appearances in other spaghetti westerns such as Death Rides a Horse, The Great Silence, and My Name is Nobody. In the latter part of his career, he showcased his comedic talents in collaborations with director Carlo Verdoni, including Un Sacco Bello and Talcum Powder. Brega passed away from a heart attack in his birthplace of Rome in 1994. Peter Lee Lawrence as Mortimer's brother-in-law. Peter Lee Lawrence, who played Mortimer's brother-in-law in the film, had an intriguing life story. He resided in Nice with his mother for a time before relocating to Rome, Italy, where he lived with his wife and son. Lawrence, going by the name Pierre Clément, found success in photo novels. He also appeared in numerous films under the alias Arthur Grant, with credits in well-received European productions such as Killer Caliber .32, 1967, Day of Violence, 1967, Fury of Johnny Kidd, 1967, The Man Who Killed Billy the Kid, 1967, and Killer Adios, 1968. Interestingly, he enjoyed a dedicated fan base in Cuba. In the 1971 film Black Beauty, he took on a supporting role. Throughout his 9-year career, Lawrence accumulated an impressive 30 film credits. His final on-screen appearance was in Los Caballeros del Botón de Ancla, 1974. Destiny played its part when he met his future wife, actress Cristina Galbo, during the filming of Dove si spara di più in 1967. Their courtship culminated in a wedding 2 years later, on July 30th, 1969, and they remained devoted to each other until his untimely demise. Health issues began to plague Lawrence in 1972 as he started experiencing persistent headaches. After completing filming for Los Caballeros del Botón de Ancla, he sought medical attention and was admitted to the Foundation Jimenez Diaz Hospital in Madrid, where he underwent surgery performed by the renowned doctor, Sixto Obrador. Sadly, the biopsy results indicated glioblastoma. In search of further treatment, Lawrence relocated to Zurich and placed his trust in Professor Wolfgang Horst, undergoing both chemotherapy and radium therapy. However, on March 25, 1974, a severe stomach pain led to his admission to the Villa Stuart Clinic in Rome. Lawrence's journey came to a close on April 20, 1974, as he passed away in the early hours of the morning at 3:10 a.m., Fernando Di Leo as cigar-smoking card player. Fernando Di Leo, the cigar-smoking card player from the film, was born on January 11, 1932, in San Ferdinando di Puglia. After a brief stint at the film school Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia in Rome, Di Leo kicked off his directing career with a segment in the omnibus comedy Gli eroi di ieri, oggi, domani, titled Un posto in paradiso. Soon after, he penned several scripts for westerns, often without credit, as he harbored a passion for film noir and aspired to craft an Italian iteration of the genre. Among his earliest endeavors was the script for Mino Guerini's Date for a Murder, based on Franco Enna's 1955 novel Tempo di Massacro. Di Leo's spin transported the story to contemporary Rome, infusing it with a touch of the spy films of that time. He reunited with Guerini for Gangster 70, which, unfortunately, fell flat at the box office. Undeterred, Di Leo stepped more resolutely into the director's chair, helming a string of films, including the war-themed Red Roses for the Führer and erotic ventures like A Woman on Fire, A Wrong Way to Love, and Seduction. He then ventured into the giallo genre with Slaughter Hotel, starring Klaus Kinski and Margaret Lee. Returning to his noir roots, he crafted Caliber 9 and The Italian Connection, both inspired by Serbanenko's writings. However, it was his next film, Il Boss, that stirred controversy, drawing ire from politicians and authorities for its unfiltered portrayal of ties between the mafia and Italy's prominent party, Democrazia Cristiana. Di Leo persevered, delivering the noir Blood and Diamonds and the erotic drama To Be 20 in 1978, followed by Madness in 1980. The 1980s saw him transition to television, commencing with the series L'Assassino ha le ore contate, comprising 6 one-hour made-for-TV films for Rai Uno that remain unreleased as of 2013. He capped off his career with The Violent Breed and his final film, Killer vs. Killers, in the mid-1980s, the latter of which eluded theatrical release in Italy until its DVD debut 2 decades later. Fernando Di Leo passed away in December 2003, Antonio Molino Rojo as Frisco, member of Indio's gang. Antonio Molino Rojo, who played Frisco, a member of Indio's gang in the film, had an extensive career in cinema with nearly 90 film appearances between 1955 and 1988. However, his most notable roles in Western cinema were undoubtedly in Sergio Leone's iconic spaghetti Western trilogy, including A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in 1966. He also graced the screen in another Leone masterpiece, Once Upon a Time in the West, in 1968, as well as in $4 of Revenge, 1966. To name a few. Rojo's talent was not limited to portraying gang members in westerns. In The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he delivered a memorable performance as a compassionate Union commandant at a prisoner of war camp, his character's legs afflicted by gangrene. In one of the film's standout scenes, he confronts Angel Eyes, Lee Van Cleef, accusing him of scientifically torturing and robbing Confederate prisoners and expressing his desire to gather evidence to bring Angel Eyes to justice in a court-martial before his impending death. Rojo passed away in Barcelona on November 2, 2011, at the age of 85, Sergio Leone as Whistling Bounty Hunter. The iconic filmmaker Sergio Leone portrayed a whistling bounty hunter in the movie. Leone drew his first breath on the 3rd of January, 1929, in the eternal city of Rome. He was destined for greatness as the offspring of cinema trailblazer Vincenzo Leone, renowned for his directorial prowess under the pseudonym Roberto Roberti, or Leone Roberto Roberti. Leone's mother, Edvige Valcarenghi, graced the silent film era with her talent under the name Bis Valerian. During his formative years, a young Leone shared a classroom with his future musical comrade, Ennio Morricone, in the 3rd grade. Influenced by his father's craft, Leone embarked on his cinematic journey at the tender age of 18, foregoing a legal education. The mid-1960s witnessed a shift in audience preferences away from historical epics, but Leone had already set his sights on a nascent subgenre that would forever be associated with him: the spaghetti western, a playful derivative of the classic American western. His groundbreaking film, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, drew inspiration from Akira Kurosawa's samurai masterpiece Yojimbo, 1961, set in the Edo period. Leone's influence extended beyond directing, as he also produced and occasionally stepped in to reshoot scenes for other films. Among these is the comedic western My Name is Nobody, 1973, by Tonino Valeri, which playfully mocked the very genre Leone helped popularize. The film starred Henry Fonda as a veteran gunslinger facing his final test after the loss of his brother, with Terence Hill as a youthful drifter who aids Fonda's character in exiting the fading West with panache. Biographer Sir Christopher Frayling sheds light on the profound hurt Leone experienced due to the studio's heavy-handed editing and the lackluster commercial reception of Once Upon a Time in America in North America. Sadly, it was his final cinematic endeavor. In 1988, he presided over the jury at the prestigious 45th Venice International Film Festival. Leone's legacy came to an abrupt end on April 30th, 1989, when he succumbed to a heart attack at his residence in Rome, aged 60. Frank Braña as Blackie, member of Indio's gang. Frank Braña played Blackie, a member of Indio's gang in the film. Francisco Braña Perez was born in Pola de Allande, Asturias, Spain, on February 24, 1934. Also known by the names Frank Blanc, Francisco Brana, Frank Brana, Frank Braña, Francisco Braña, and Paco Braña, he primarily worked in Spanish and Italian films. His genres of choice were spaghetti westerns, horror movies, and sword and sandal epics, appearing in over 200 productions since the early 1960s, not always in supporting roles. Braña appeared in all 3 films of Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, as Blackie, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. He co-starred with Vivian Dodds, Oscar Pellicer, and Luis Induni in Sunscorched, 1965. Braña's other notable appearances include And the Crows Will Dig Your Grave, 1971, and Dallas, 1972. Both directed by John Wood, Django Does Not Forgive, 1967, by Julio Bux, Django Kill, If You Live, Shoot, 1967, by Giulio Questi, If You Shoot, You Live, by Javier Elorrieta, and Three Supermen of the West, 1974, by Italo Martinenghi. One of his final roles was in José Luis García's Tío Vivo Sí, 1950, 2004, which was nominated for the Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. Despite suffering from silicosis, Braña continued to work. In September 2007, he published his autobiography, Morir con Dignidad en el Cine, Dying with Dignity in Cinema. In September 2011, he was honored at the I Festival Internacional de Cine Western, alongside other Western cinema icons. On February 13, 2012, at 3:15 p.m., Frank Braña passed away from respiratory failure at a hospital in Madrid, Spain, just 11 days before his 78th birthday. Ricardo Palacios as Tucumcari saloon keeper. Ricardo Palacios, who played the Tucumcari saloon keeper in the film, was born in the charming town of Reynosa, located in the Cantabria region. Palacios honed his craft at the official film school in Madrid, where he studied both acting and directing. His career took off with an early role in the 1961 television series Polly. Over the years, Palacios built an impressive resume, appearing in approximately 150 films and television shows. He found his niche in the spaghetti western genre and frequently collaborated with director Jesus Franco. Palacios's talent extended behind the camera as well. He made his directorial debut with the erotic film Mi Conejo es el Mejor, starring Lina Romay and Emilio Linder. He went on to direct the film Viva la Banda in 1987, featuring the talented Alfredo Landa, and later helmed the TV series La Banda de Perez, which aired in February 2015. Sadly, Palacios passed away in February 2015 due to heart failure. Lorenzo Robledo as Tommaso, Indio's traitor. The actor Lorenzo Robledo portrayed Tommaso, the traitorous companion of Indio in the film. He is a well-known figure in Italian westerns, having graced 32 spaghetti westerns throughout the 60s and early 70s. Beyond this film, Robledo was a prolific actor in the western genre, including a role as the tortured sheriff in Four of the Apocalypse, 1975. His most memorable performance in Leone's films, where he is more easily recognized, is in For a Few Dollars More, where he plays a cornered enemy of the primary antagonist who tortures and murders the character's family before killing him. Sadly, Robledo passed away in September 2006 in Madrid. Gianmaria Volonté as El Indio. In Sergio Leone's classic western For a Few Dollars More, El Indio emerges as the central antagonist. Portrayed with a chilling intensity by Gianmaria Volonté, this character embodies a cunning, ruthless, and charismatic outlaw. El Indio is known for his sadistic nature and his manipulative skills, posing a formidable challenge to Manco and Colonel Mortimer. His iconic presence, accentuated by a distinctive whistle and a penchant for Russian roulette, has secured his place as one of the most memorable villains in cinematic history. Volonté's performance, coupled with the character's neurotic traits and leadership among brigands or revolutionaries, contributed to his worldwide recognition. Prior to this role, Volonté had demonstrated his versatility in comedies such as A Cavallo della Tigre, 1961, directed by Luigi Comencini, and later in L'Armata Brancaleone, 1966. However, he truly excelled in dramatic roles, showcasing his talent in films including Banditi a Milano, 1968, by Carlo Lizzani, Marco Bellocchio's Sbatti il mostro in prima pagina, 1972, La classe operaia va in paradiso, 1972, by his friend Elio Petri, and Il sospetto, 1975, directed by Francesco Maselli. Volonté's exceptional talent was recognized through numerous awards. In 1983, he garnered the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival for his performance in L'Amor de Mario Ricci. This was followed by the Silver Bear for Best Actor at the 37th Berlin International Film Festival in 1987 for his role in Il Caso Moro. In 1988, he starred in the Cannes Film Festival official selection, The Abyss, directed by André Delvaux, and based on Marguerite Yourcenar's renowned novel. Volonté was crowned Best European Actor for Porte-à-Perte in 1990. His illustrious career was further honored in 1991 at the 48th Venice International Film Festival, where he received the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement. Beyond his acting prowess, Volonté was a dedicated political activist with pro-communist inclinations. He actively supported political causes and aided Oreste Scalzone in evading capture in Italy by facilitating his escape to Denmark in 1981. On the personal front, Volonté shared a decade-long relationship with Italian actress and Italian Communist Party deputy Carla Gravina, whom he met while playing Romeo and Juliet in a theater production in 1960. The couple had a daughter, Giovanna, born in the early 1960s. From 1977 until his untimely death in 1994, he was accompanied by actress Angelica Ippolito. Gian Maria Volonté passed away at the age of 61 due to a heart attack in Florina, Greece, while working on the film Ulysses Gaze. It's a poignant experience to observe the passage of time for these cinematic stars, yet their enduring impact through iconic performances is undeniable. Let's honor these silver screen legends. Remember to like, share, and follow for more cinematic explorations.